self-directed CPDs is perfect for a registrant like me, who does a number of different professional activities as part of their various roles. Log CPD when I'm researching or compiling materials for teaching or for critiquing or peer reviewing journal articles. But also I will log any type of course that my employer organisation is running, which I think will have an impact on my practice. So that could be GDPR training, data protection training, maybe on reflection or working with colleagues. So all of those things I tend to view as self-directed CPD. It's things that I'm doing anyway, and therefore I'll log it.
I organise a peer review meeting with a group of local optometrists. We meet about twice a year. We come together to discuss cases from clinical practice. I'm also currently enrolled on a master's degree, which allows me lots of opportunity to log self-directed CPD. At work, our department holds multidisciplinary team meeting, and we take it in turns to host the session. I have presented results of audits, I've done case presentation, and I've also talked about my own subspecialty interests, and I've also authored a CPD article.
And most recently, I read a really thought-provoking article on contact lens aftercare, and it made me think a little bit about what I do for contact lens aftercare. And as a result of that, I discussed it with some peers, and I've since claimed that as self-directed CPD. I've put my thoughts down on paper, and it's allowed me just to question what I do and what we'll do in the future.
Well, I love that the activities that I often are completing as part of my role anyway can be included in CPD, even though they're not provider-led. And I think it's a really good way to show the depth and the breadth of your development as a professional and capture all the things that you do a lot of the time in that 3-year cycle. So it's such a wonderful way of showing your growth in 3 years.
I feel the benefit is not limited to professional development. I have benefited both personally and professionally. It's given me the opportunity to recognize my own learning needs and my own learning style, and also allows me to diversify my learning. For example, mandatory training at work, such as basic life support. These may not be immediately apparent, but they do count as CPD.
One of the main benefits is just quite simply the flexibility. You can do it any time. You're in complete control. And for me, I tend to find that when you reflect on these things, that it just enforces the learning in your mind. So when you put that down on paper or electronically, it just makes you think a wee bit about what you have learned.
The most obvious points are, what have I learned and how will I apply it? I find it helpful to describe the event, what was discussed, my own thoughts and opinions. So it's like critical thinking, and what effect it has on my own practice, or it will have on my own practice.
I think the reflective statement is a really important part of evidencing the learning that you're doing. It solidifies what you thought you knew or what you learnt. And I find it really helpful to complete it, not straight away, but to have time to think about what you did. Often I have immediate reflections on the experience that I had, even if it's just a case of, I wish I did that differently, or that didn't go so well. But then I find that I get deeper reflections that develop over time. I tend to include emotions as well. So some experiences are frustrating, maybe satisfying, or even heartrending. So I try to capture these in my statement, because not all learning is easy learning. But most importantly, I don't make it an essay. I try to let the words kind of flow freely in a way that's a lot looser than how I would normally write.
If you did an event and you didn't think it met your expectation, I think it's important to document that. I also think about the delivery of the event, such as the presentation and the speaker. Are they engaging? Or is it just, somebody who just talks at you? So all these are quite helpful things to to write down, to reflect on?
I will always try to include an action plan as well for something that I want to do in the future. It could be something that I thought I needed a bit more information on, or something that I felt I just needed to do a bit better. You're often already completing continual professional development in your various roles that you might have. It might not be provider-led, but it's probably really vital in your professional career. So self-directed CPD is a way to record it, so it's not wasted. Feel confident in your ability to log it. Your reflective statement is a great way to evidence what you've learnt, and it doesn't take more time. By writing that reflective statement, actually, you're just consolidating your learning and thinking about how you might approach the learning differently next time. So yes, do it.
Give it a go. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I've made mistakes in the early stages, but you learn very quickly and you refine your techniques. I would strongly encourage peers to think ahead about what evidence they would use to support the CPD. And I would suggest starting small, just to build up your confidence. Self-directed CPD, to me, a lot of mine has been free, so it does not need to cost money. It's often built into your daily routine. We just don't realize it. If you're doing any further qualification, which a lot of optometrists are, don't forget to log those. If you're reading journals and publication, they count as well. So a lot of us are already doing these things, we just don't realize it. And as such, we don't record it. And myself, I do the same. Often I come home and read about a condition and I forget to log them. But so there's lots of opportunities. So don't be afraid to give it a go.
So don't be frightened of it. It's actually a very simple, straightforward process. Something for everyone to consider. It's a great way of formally recognising a lot of the learning that we already undertake.
I wasn't aware of how much I was learning or teaching until I started logging my own activities. I'm delighted that GOC has introduced self-directed CPD. It is very important that these diverse range of activities are recognised. So it's a benefit.